What's up, America? Y'all know who this is. Dropping it. Drugs have taken a tremendous toll on the black community. Go to any black community and you can see the evidence of this. In every black community, you will see an enormous number of black men and women that are either dead behind drugs, in prison, or on drugs themselves. The whole process of what drugs have done to our communities is incredible. The famous old sayings of us not having the means to get these drugs here is true. Yes, we don't own planes and other vehicles used to bring drugs into our communities. In my video, Black on Black Crime, I touched on the government and its involvement in drugs being placed in our community. But in this video, I'm going to touch on drugs and how we as black people have dealt with this. The original drug laws were designed with evil racist intents. The 1914 Harrison Narcotic Act was enacted supposedly due to black men who do cocaine may have a tendency to want to rape white women. All of this wasn't true, but this was used, of course, to scare lawmakers into making cocaine and other prevalent drugs like marijuana illegal. Up until that time, cocaine was widely used and was a principal component to many drugs and tonics, including Coca-Cola. The use of cocaine was widely being accepted by many white people, including the so-called father of psychology, Sigmund Freud. It was also used frequently by such characters as Sherlock Holmes. However, in the black community, many of us wasn't using these or any other drugs with as much frequency. Not until around the late 1920s, when the jazz swing era, did drugs like heroin become available in the black community. Many jazz musicians became hooked on this drug, including greats like Billie Holiday, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, and others. Miss Holiday and Mr. Parker dying due to drug overdoses. Heroin stayed the main hardline drug of the black community until the late 60s or early 70s. Then cocaine, which was rarely seen in the black community, became available. Boston George Jung of Massachusetts set up a connection with the infamous Medellin cartel. The Medellin cartel, which was headed by Pablo Escobar. This story was turned into a movie called Blow, which starred Johnny Depp. Mr. Jung was able to establish a pipeline of cocaine throughout the United States. Many blacks still couldn't afford the powder cocaine of this era and often did the same drugs always available to them. In the 1980s, a formula was developed by using powder cocaine and baking soda. This form of coke was named crack, and because it was easy to make and so highly addictive, it was a dream for a drug dealer and also the best thing for anyone looking to get high. Crack was less expensive than the other drugs and offered a better sensation than anything previous. The effects this drug would have on the community would be felt decades after its inception. Many potentially good people in and for the community would be affected by this drug. The magnitude of this drug would later be illustrated as the black mayor of Washington, D.C., Marion Barry, would be filmed in a hotel room smoking this drug. The black community understanding of this drug and how it has affected us as a whole was demonstrated when Mr. Barry was re-elected mayor of Washington, D.C. in 1995. It seems as if little to no black family or community hasn't been affected by drugs. Drugs have been the hardest problem to rid our community of. Unfortunately, where there's poverty and self-degradation, there's bound to be drugs, and often these problems go on in the black community. Now drugs are becoming a problem outside the black community, and the government is now trying to be active in the fight. Before whites started getting hooked, we never seen no rehabilitation centers. Drugs are no longer just the black community's problem, as meth has exploded among whites and other ethnic groups. Many have taken on alternative drugs in and out of the black community like ecstasy, meth, and sipping cough syrup. All of these drugs, which none of these users have no idea how it affects their overall health. In lieu of the death of DJ Screw and Pimp C, people still drink to serve. Even Lil Wayne admits an addiction to it. Also, I may note that there's many drugs we take legally in America that are just as deadly. The nicotine in cigarettes and even the caffeine in coffee. Not to mention the many drugs they now have for everything. So in conclusion, is America really waging a war on drugs? And on that note, I teach and I don't preach. Peace.